One is the definition of what a non-residential area is and how that opens up the opportunity for a planned development district to be placed upon a parcel of land. I believe the Planning and Zoning Commission should tighten up their regulations as to where a PDD is allowed. The concept that dedicated open space is a non-residential area and somehow qualifies as a transition to allow a planned development district is abhorrent to all of your planning. The second item is on your zoning map where PDDs are allowed. One of the areas are special development area overlays, and there is a very large SDA overlay in the White Hills area along Route 110. I believe you should act promptly to have that removed. Thank you.
Thank you. Castro, is there anyone else in the auditorium for the public portion?
We have to go based on the.
Not for an item not on the agenda.
For items that are not on the agenda.
Oh, okay.
No one online.
No one online? Okay. That concludes the public comment portion of tonight's agenda. We'll move on to applications for certificate of zoning compliance. Commissioner Amato, I understand that the sign subcommittee met and reviewed one sign application listed on the agenda. What is the recommendation of the subcommittee?
We recommended approval. It was designed to follow along with the signs adjacent to it in the same building, but it looked very good and it met all the size requirements of our zoning regulations.
Thank you. Does any commissioner have any questions regarding?
Mr. Chairman, just a point of information. I had a conversation earlier with Commissioner Harger, and I know she's late, but she had a concern that this sign has actually already been installed. And whether or not that's an appropriate action, maybe the applicants need to be reminded that they cannot install signs until and unless this commission approves the sign for installation.
I can let them know. I wasn't aware that it was already up currently.
It wasn't up when we reviewed it.
It wasn't up when we reviewed it.
Okay, any other questions? All those in favor of the sign application recommended by the subcommittee, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 6-0. Item number 2 is for an accessory dwelling unit, which the zoning enforcement officer has recommended for approval. Will the applicant please present the application to the commission?
I am requesting to add in Sandra Lopez as a panelist. Is that her application?
Okay. For the record, this is 26-71, 63 Maple Lane. Lopez?
And then video.
Yes.
Go ahead, Ms. Lopez.
Hi, so I want to present an attached ADU onto my dwelling at 63 Maple Lane. This is an addition for my son to live in, his girlfriend, and they're expecting a baby.
Ms. Lopez, are you going to go over the plans?
Do you mind if we call my architect really quick? We're going to get him on the phone in about 2 seconds. Now. It's pretty much a 30 by 26, 1 bedroom, 1 small living room, 1 kitchen. a closet, a bathroom. Everything's going to be tied into the main home, the utilities, the electric, and everything like that. It's going to have its own entrance, and then it's going to have an entrance into my living room for the entrance, for the door that has to be going in and out of the main dwelling.
It shares the common wall to the right there, Ms. Lopez?
It's like the doors
Uh,
going in.
Where it connects where the mudroom is, it shares that entire common wall with the.
Yeah, yes, it shares the entire common wall. Yeah, I do. Okay. My architect is on the phone if you have any other questions.
1 minute.
Hello?
Does any commissioner, 1 minute, sir. Does any commissioner have any questions or need any further?
How big is the original house?
It's about, I'm going to say about 1,800 square feet.
Any other commissioner have any other questions?
Is there a plot plan or for parking and stuff like that? Driveway close to? I don't see a plot plan.
I don't have a plot plan for the driveway, being that I have a sufficient driveway space, but I have a lot of driveway space that they would just park.
Normally you have that.
There is a site plan.
Where?
Sandy?
Sir,
Yeah.
There's a site plan.
Sir, can you identify yourself for the record?
Sure, Peter Gilberto. Spelled Gilberto.
I don't see a site plan. Oh, I see a. Oh,
There's a site plan, February 15th.
This is what I'm going to do. This is what I was sent by our zoning enforcement officer. He reviewed the application. He actually went out to the site and they worked together to figure out the best way to place this. He wasn't here today, unfortunately, with a family emergency, but this is what I have. This is what I have.
okay, he went through the site plan with
He went through the site
the
plan,
owner
he
and the
walked
architect.
site, They worked closely, put together some notes. The ADU is 780 square feet, 2 means of egress. ADU flows to the principal unit by a common wall from a mudroom to existing living room. Again, this doesn't have the outside site plan, but he did mention that there was sufficient parking. He said they had a rather large driveway.
Okay. I guess we can take his word on it.
Okay.
Sewer and water?
So yeah, city sewer.
Any other questions?
It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I think so.
Appreciate the staff review.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
those in favor of approving the ADU as recommended by the zoning enforcement officer, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 6-0. You're all set, Ms.
Thank-
Lopez?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, Sandy, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, Peter, thank you.
Next item on the agenda is new business. Application 2613, 89 Bridgeport Avenue LLC. Jim Leahan, 89 Bridgeport Avenue, Assessors Map 117, Lot 4. Site plan application for a 6,000 square foot, 2-story building with 3,000 square feet garage space on the main level, 3 office spaces on the second level, to accept and set a hearing. Ms. Castro, do you have any comments about this application?
I would be requesting that the commission table the site plan review. The city engineer and the fire marshal both requested modifications to the site plan as it was submitted. That came in on Thursday. That did not give the applicant enough time to provide the responses that they requested. So we're asking that we leave it for the next meeting so they can get their plans amended.
Thank you. Next meeting is what date?
May the 2nd, May 13th.
How does the commission wish to proceed with this application?
Accept that recommendation.
Yeah, make a motion to accept.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Kelly to table this application.
Mhm.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of tabling application 2313, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passes 6-0. Thank you. That'll be on the May 13th meeting. Next on the new business is application 2614, submitted by Dominic Thomas for Kristen and Benjamin Perry at 126 Howe Avenue. The applicant is requesting a zone change to establish a planned development district and initial development plans for approximately 0.76 acres. I will entertain a motion to accept this application and set a public hearing.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor of accepting application 2614, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes 6-0. That'll be on May 13th, Ms. Castro.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving to old business. Under old business, we have application 2608, a major modification to PDD number 60. Submitted by 255 Canal Street LLC at 255 Canal Street. The application proposes 48 two-bedroom residential units with on-site parking in site section E, along with an addendum to the statement of uses and standards. This application is before the commission tonight for review of the resolution, discussion, and possible action. During the last meeting, the commission requested that staff prepare a favorable resolution. Ms. Castro, would you please read aloud the resolution?
Application 2608, petition of 255 Canal Shelton LLC, major modification of PDD number 60, Shelton Riverfront Development. Final site development plan approval for site E, 255 Canal Street, assessors map 129, lot 16, including modification of the statement of uses and standards. Don Stanziel, DBA 255 Canal Shelton LLC, has filed an application for a major modification of Plan Development District number 60, PDD 60, and final site development plan approval for site E, as well as an amendment to the statement of uses and standards applicable to said site E. The application proposes 48 two-bedroom residential units with on-site parking in site section E. The original approval of the overall initial development plans for the entire PDD 60, as well as the stipulated conditions of approval and adoption of PDD 60, were approved on February 12, 2007. The subject site E was originally contemplated in the initial development plans for approximately 53 dwelling units. Since the original adoption of PDD number 60, various modifications have been approved. Site B, Radcliffe Park, Avalon Shelton, was approved for 250 rental dwelling units in 2008 with a parking modification in 2011. Site C was approved in 2009 and subsequently modified in 2015 for development of 68 rental residential units. And Site G, Cedar Village at the Locks, was approved in 2023 for 129 rental apartments. The applicant, represented by Don Stanziel of Midland Development in Cedar Village, professional engineer Manny Silva of Rose T-Zone Company, and Director of Architecture Mike Finelli of Rose T-Zone Company. The final site development plans are entitled PDD Submission Drawings dated February 16, 2026, with engineering plans prepared by Rose T-Zone Company. The following exhibits were submitted and made part of the record. Exhibit 1 was a statement of uses. Exhibit 2 was a legal description. Exhibit 3, the abutting properties. Exhibit 4 is the engineering report dated January 27, 2026. Exhibit 5 is the PDD submission drawing dated February 16, 2026. Exhibit 6 is the city engineer review dated February 25, 2026. Exhibit 7 is the fire marshal review dated February 26, 2026. Exhibit 8, review from Dominic Gandy, Shelton Planning and Zoning Professional Engineer, dated March 5th, 2026. Exhibit 9 is a letter from the Conservation Commission, dated March 10th, 2026. Exhibit 10, renderings. Exhibit 11 is a certified mail receipt. Exhibit 12, signposting photos. Exhibit 13, notification letter. Exhibit 14, revised site plans. Exhibit 15, engineering response to the revised site plans. Exhibit 16 is the city engineer recommendation for approval, and Exhibit 17 was the OSTA overall site plan. Duly noticed public hearing was held on March 25th, 2026. The commission questioned the applicant about a variety of issues, including parking, visitor parking, landscaping, FEMA compliance, riverbank stabilization, fire truck access, garbage trucks access, and the Riverwalk connection. The applicant addressed all concerns raised during the hearing. Commission findings. The commission is completely familiar with the overall plans for PDD 60 Shelton Riverfront development, as well as the subject proposal for Site E, and has completed its review of all application materials, noting the following findings. 1, with respect to on-site parking, the applicable provisions of the statement of uses and standards currently mandate a parking ratio of 2 spaces per dwelling unit. The applicant has proposed a parking ratio of 1.9 spaces per unit for the 48 two-bedroom condominium units. The commission notes that 1 or 2 units may have only one assigned parking space, and this deviation will be reflected in the pricing when sold. The applicant has agreed to address visitor parking concerns raised by the commission. The commission has determined that adequate provisions for visitor parking must be incorporated into the final site plan. The commission expressed concern regarding non-native plantings on the landscaping plan. The applicant has confirmed that substitutions will be made to utilize all native plantings as required by the commission. The proposed development complies with FEMA flood regulations and elevation specifications. The applicant has confirmed compliance with all applicable flood zone requirements. Riverbank stabilization is required for the site. A retaining wall with stabilization will be necessary for constructing the section of the Riverwalk along the property. The applicant has agreed to coordinate with the city regarding the Riverwalk access point until such time as the bridge connection to the southeast property is constructed. The site will include a controlled gate for the parking lot. The fire marshal has reviewed the application and stated that the roadway in front of the building shall be marked and maintained as fire lanes. The commission acknowledges that the applicant has represented that the proposed dwelling units will be offered for sale as condominium or ownership units and not as rental housing. Based on that representation, the commission finds that affordable housing set-aside requirements applicable to rental developments are not triggered by this application. In the event that the development, in whole or in part, is converted or is operated as rental housing, such change shall constitute a material modification of this approval and shall require further review and approval by the commission. At that time, the applicant shall be required to comply with all applicable affordable housing requirements, including but not limited to the City of Shelton Affordable Housing Plan 2022 as amended. The city engineer has reviewed the application and has recommended for approval. On the basis of the findings and concerns set forth above, the following resolution is offered for consideration. Resolution. Whereas PDD number 60 encompasses the entire development entitled Shelton Riverfront Development and was adopted in February 2007, consisting of several distinct and separate development sites for which final development plans for individual sites B, C, D, and G have been previously approved. And whereas the initial development plans for Site E were approved as part of the original PDD adoption, contemplating approximately 53 dwelling units on the subject site. And whereas the maximum total allowable residential development in PDD 60 has been previously modified by action on Site C in 2015 and subsequently Site G in 2023. And whereas the applicant 255 Canal Shelton LLC has submitted an application for a major modification of PDD number 60 and final site development plans for Site E located at 255 Canal Street, Assessors Map 129, Lot 16, consisting of 48 two-bedroom residential for-sale units with on-site parking. And whereas the commission has held and completed a duly noted public hearing on March 25th, 2026, during which hearing the applicant presented its proposal and addressed all concerns raised by the commission and the public. And whereas the commission is familiar with the area, the subject site, and applicable zoning provisions of PDD number 60, as initially adopted and subsequently modified in part, and has reviewed in detail the subject proposal and all accompanying documents, and subject to the comments, findings, concerns set forth above, the commission notes the following. The application complies with the applicable zoning requirements, including the provisions of PDD 60 as modified. All necessary referrals have been made and favorable reports have been received from the city engineer and fire marshal. Final site development plans will need minor revisions and details to address the findings and conditions set forth above, including visitor parking provisions and native plantings. The proposed modification is compatible with the goals and objectives of PDD number 60 and will contribute to the continued revitalization of the Shelton Riverfront development area. The proposed development includes adequate provisions for site access, parking, emergency vehicle access, and compliance with FEMA regulations. The applicant will coordinate with the city regarding the Riverwalk connection and riverbank stabilization. The commission acknowledges and replies upon the applicant/developer's representation that the proposed units will be constructed and initially offered as for sale ownership units and not rental housing. This approval is granted based upon that representation. Any changes by the developer prior to the initial conveyance of units to individual purchasers to develop, market, or operate the units as rental housing in whole or in part shall constitute a material modification of this approval and shall require further review and approval by the commission. At that time, the developer shall be required to comply with all applicable regulations, including any affordable housing requirements in effect. Now therefore, the Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission, in accordance with the provisions of Section 34, hereby take the following actions. The preliminary initial development plan for PDD 60 approved in February 2007 and subsequently modified is hereby further modified with respect to Site E to accommodate 48 two-bedroom residential condominium units with on-site parking as set forth herein. The statement of uses and standards applicable to PDD number 60, specifically and solely as it relates to Site E of said PDD 60, is hereby modified to establish required minimum parking provisions as set forth herein, including adequate visitor parking and designated on the final site plans. Subject final site development plans for Site E reflecting 48 two-bedroom residential condominium units with on-site parking hereby approved, subject to the satisfaction of all conditions and concerns set forth herein, including A, substitution of native plantings for any non-native species identified in the landscaping plan, subject to review and approval by staff. B, designation of adequate visitor parking on final site plans to to the satisfaction of the commission. C, compliance with all FEMA flood regulations and elevation specifications. D, installation of riverbank stabilization and retaining walls required for riverwalk construction. E, coordination with the city regarding the Riverwalk access point until such time the bridge connection is constructed. F, installation of controlled gate for the parking area. G, satisfaction of all comments and concerns of the city engineer, fire marshal, and any other applicable municipal boards and commissions. All other requirements, conditions, and restrictions imposed by the original approval on February 27, 2007, and subsequent modifications are to remain in effect except as specifically modified herein. Posting of necessary bonding in an amount determined by the city engineer to ensure the completion of critical site improvements, landscaping, and other areas of concern. Said adoption shall become effective on April 27, 2026.
Castro, I have a couple of edits. Ms. Castro, I have a couple of edits. Page 2. Number 1, fourth line down. Change condominium to residential units.
Page 2.
$48 two-bedroom residential units.
One.
What would you like me to change it to?
Residential units. Next page,
Everybody. Okay,
next page, number 7. Second line. Same change.
They're just scratching as condominium or ownership units, just saying offered for sale and not as rental housing.
No, residential units. It would be
For sale as residential.
residential units, correct. Same as the.
Yeah.
the
Attorney
district.
McCoy, did you have a comment? Okay.
No.
Okay,
That, so,
To be consistent with the language in the rest of the document.
I understand, yeah, that's just a term of ownership, yeah,
I'm not done.
yes.
residential units,
Yes. Yes.
where else?
Page 5. Roman numeral 1. Remove the word condominium.
Okay.
Do not replace it. Anything. So we'll read 48 two-bedroom residential units. In the last change, same page, Roman numeral 3. Same change, site E reflecting 48 two-bedroom residential units. Thank you. At this time, I open the floor to the commission for discussion. I ask the commission members allow one another the opportunity to speak without interruption. If you'd like to add to another colleague's point, please do so through the chair and I will call upon you.
Chairman, this is Commissioner Ticky.
Yes, sir.
I was unable to join the last meeting, though I did watch it back. So I just wanted to offer this comment. The resolution mentions revitalization, which we've been so much a part of as we have approved apartments in downtown. I just think that needs to come with safety, parking, and access. And as Canal Street grows and we have approved many units on Canal Street, in the short term, we need to ensure the streets are open for access without cars parked illegally. And I know that it's been represented that there is more attention paid to Canal Street to make sure that those streets are open and safe. But I think in the long term, more importantly, we need Worcester Street open so that there's more one way to access Canal Street. I've mentioned that in the past with other applicants, and I just want it to be consistent that as we see Canal Street growing, we need the flow in and out to not be dependent on just one roadway. I know there's been representation that conversations are underway on that, and I know that I've heard that before, but I just wanted to go on the record with my feeling that it's really important that we look at how folks are getting in and out of that street as we continue to approve apartments on Canal Street, and hopeful that the city and the railroad can, in a way, work to open up Worcester Street so that there's more than one access point into this becoming a congested roadway.
Thank you, Commissioner Dickey. I will address Worcester Street at the end. As far as parking, specifically illegal parking on Canal Street, I spent some time since the last meeting reviewing our city regulations. Illegal parking on Canal Street is the sole responsibility of the police department. Any concerns or questions that come up regarding illegal parking need to be directed to the police department. It's beyond the scope of this commission to address illegal parking. I do know that the police department has been starting to address illegal parking. So there is a beginning, hopefully, to the end.
I appreciate that. We do look out for safety. And I think the second point about Worcester opening and having access is an important one.
Yes, I'm going to discuss that at the end of this. Any other commissioner have any
Mr. Chairman,
question? Yes, sir.
twice we mentioned the fact that the designation of adequate visitor parking on the final site plans to the satisfaction of the commission, but I don't see a timeline, or I'm not aware of how that gets done before construction begins or plans get approved.
And with final site development plans.
Yeah.
You're requesting changes, but if you want to put a timeline on it, that's your discretion.
I think it's in the resolution.
The applicant has to come in with final site development plans, correct?
This is their final, but you're requesting changes, so they have to
come back.
They have to come to you, if not to this extreme, it'd be more of site plan, not the major modification that we had to do this time. So they would address that in their plans.
The question is when? I mean, is this something we want to address in the next 30, 60, 90 days, or is this something we're going to wait a year for?
If we proceed today, I will be setting a time. I will address the time.
You don't want to put it in the resolution?
No,
Why?
I'll just set it. I'll set a time schedule if we proceed forward today.
Okay, but then it's not a binding schedule if we're not adopting a resolution that includes it. It's chairman's recommendation, which is different.
I'll just ask for clarification again. Don't they have to come in with final plan
They
before
presented
they
this-
can?
They presented this as a final plan. That's how the application is listed, but because you asked for modifications before they apply for building permits,
They have to come back with
and
a
address
final
those
plan.
modifications. Timeline wise, they have 2 years to start construction, so anywhere within the 2 years would be your time frame. I would imagine they don't want to take 2 years, so,
Right,
but that would be the discretion of the commission.
But they're not going to have an active final site plan unless they do those two items, the parking and the vegetation.
Correct.
So if we put it in the resolution, then there's an official record of when we would like to see it come back.
Well, they have 2 years.
Do you want to wait 2 years?
Well, it's not whether we want to wait. We can't require them to come back.
Sure we can. It's a PDD. We can almost anything we want.
but why?
What's-
I mean, they're gonna
Because
want to
it'd be
get,
nice to have a finished project.
well, they're gonna want to get a building permit. And they can't get that, from what I understand, without addressing these items, correct?
And who's watching that?
So you're looking for the applicant to identify which parking spots are going to be designated for visitors?
We, as part of our conversation at the last
Yes.
meeting, talked about specific designations of visitors parking
Okay,
and also vegetation that would be native because their plant had non-native species listed. So those two items have to be addressed before any final approval. or we have final approval subject to those being addressed within a certain time frame.
You can either do a time frame or prior to applying for building permits.
Mr. Chairman, I think it would be best if we approve it and then approve the final site drawings. If, if they change something, suppose they change some native plants or something, where they said they were gonna put something here, and now they're gonna put it over here, so on. So you'd have to go back for a revision. I mean, that, we're going back and forth.
I'm not concerned about native plants and nobody's more concerned than me, so.
Right, I agree.
We're good. But the parking, I feel like if we say they can't get a building permit until that's addressed, what more do we need to do?
Our standard has been prior to building permit, but again, it's your discretion.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. We always,
Okay, so if we add to the resolution that the applicant can provide a site plan noting the visitor spot prior to or at the same time they apply for a building permit.
They shouldn't apply for a building permit without the
Without final
commission's
site plan.
endorsement.
No, it'd be a condition of the resolution.
Well, we say, for example, in A on page 5, native plants for non-native species identified subject to review and approval by the staff. So we have someone approving it.
Mhm.
The next one says final site plan approval satisfaction to the commission, which means they have to come back to the commission. And I just like to see it done in a timely fashion.
I think a 6-month timeline would be fair, and if they're not ready within 6 months, they can just ask the commission for an extension of time
Or prior to the,
or prior to building.
prior to a building permit, yeah. Then he's got the 2 years.
Fine.
Attorney McCoy, if I could just call on you, would this next line be a safe place to enter that?
Where you're talking about what letter? Oh, you want to put it up there. Okay.
I'm on page,
That's,
which would now be page 6, so this would be,
I mean, you
Well,
have.
can't you do it on 5B, right like you did with the staff review? Just add it to that sentence.
what page are you on?
Page 5, 3B. So it would say designation of adequate visitor parking on the final site plans to the satisfaction of the commission prior to the issuance of a building permit.
Attorney McCoy, is
perfect.
that okay?
That works. Definitely, that's a good place to put it.
You want about all of the conditions of 3,
Where you could-
not just designating them.
No, 'cause that's the only one that's left over.
Those are the only 2 that had reviews. Everything else is just a part of the construction that he showed on his map.
Okay, does any other commissioner have any other questions? Okay, how would the commission like to proceed? I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move the resolution with the amendments that we have made. I guess there's like 4, 5, or 6 amendments.
Do I hear a second?
I had seconded.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Ms. Cashew, please call the roll.
Chairman Cristiano,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye,
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Apple,
Aye.
Commissioner Bertola.
Motion passes 6-0. Ms. Castro, I am requesting that the city engineer come to our next meeting on May 13th, if he is available, to give us an update on the status of the Worcester Street Railroad crossing.
I will send that.
Okay, thank you. It is 6:43. Commissioner Harden is here, seating Commissioner Harden back in her spot. Next on the agenda is the public hearing section. Before I begin, I will share the protocol for tonight's public hearing. Ms. Cascio will indicate if any written comments were received from members of the public no later than 24 hours before the start of this evening's meeting. If received, they will be read into the record. The applicant and/or their associates will make their presentation. The commission may ask questions during and after the presentation. Any member of the public wishing to address the commission may do so via Zoom's raise their hand feature or by dialing *9 on their phone. Each speaker has 5 minutes to present comments, which should address specific criteria of the zoning regulations, the merits of the application, and be new information. Comments and questions should be directed to the commission, not to the application. Members of the public are expected to be quiet, observant, and respectful. Disruptive attendees may be removed from verbally participating. The applicant's attorney and/or associates will be given the opportunity to respond after the public has spoken. If the commission feels further information is needed, the chair will ask for a motion to continue the public hearing. If the hearing remains open, the commission may not make public comment, discuss the presentation, or receive additional information from anyone. If the commission feels all questions and concerns have been addressed, the public hearing will close. The commission reserves the right to discuss the application at the close of the public hearing or at an upcoming meeting. First is application 2609, Quintara Building and Renovation LLC, continuation at 276 Leavenworth Road, Assessors Map 151, Lot 1, zone map change from R1A to R1 at 276 Leavenworth Road, approximately 3.3 acres. Commissioner Amato, will you please read the legal notice for this application into the record?
Continuation of application 26-09, Quaranta Building and Renovation LLC at 276 Leavenworth Road, Assessors Map 151, Lot 1, for a zone map change from the R1A zone to an R1 zone. The area of the property included within the proposed zone change is plus or minus 3.3 acres of the total plus or minus 5.3 acres, and abuts the Pearmain Road side of the property. Plans entitled Zone Change Map prepared by Lewis Associates dated February 16th, 2026 are on file in the Planning and Zoning Office. The property is generally bound as follows: northerly by 59 School Street, easterly by 0 Leavenworth Road, Assessors Map 151, Lot 47, southerly by 224 Birdseye Road, and westerly by 278 Leavenworth Road.
Thank you. Ms. Cascio, will you please read aloud any exhibits added to the file since the last meeting and advise the commission whether any additional items were submitted for the record within the 24 hours of this meeting?
We received 2 additional exhibits, a letter from the Conservation Commission Chairman, Mr. Harkinson, and a letter from Aquarian Water Company. Both were added into the file a little later. They were came in late yesterday. So if you want to, they're up there, but if you want to read them. And then if I wanted to, if I may, we received a letter today that was not added to the record because of the timing. But if they happen to be present, it is Kevin and Whitney Guerin, if they would like to read it during a public comment, since we weren't able to add it to the record.
Okay, thank you. Is the applicant here? Okay, will the applicant please identify yourself for the record?
Yeah, well,
Okay. You wish to address the commission, sir?
I don't really have anything further to say at this time. We addressed the case, so I'll respond to anything after.
Sure thing, thank you. Okay.
Chairman, I have a question. Yeah, I have a question that one of the things that we continued the public hearing for last month was, because Aquarian had submitted a letter.
Yeah.
And there was a letter that came back in and, just wanted to make sure that, everyone understands the content of it. And if anyone on the commission might have had any questions, I think it's pretty straightforward. And, but they do have some contingencies that they mentioned in next to the last paragraph that I think we all should be aware of because it would, the cost of the second one, which is the recommendation that an independent professional engineering and environmental review be done. That has to be determined as to if that it does take place, as to who picks up the cost of that. And I have no idea how long something like that takes. So I don't know if Mr. DeGangi had any input on that, how long something like that takes.
Shouldn't take long.
Okay. So we're talking maybe a couple weeks, not months.
Yeah.
This would be for a subsequent application though. So we would be able to get pricing and timing.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't it be up to the applicant?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you look at
Yeah.
the Aquarian's comments in the next to last paragraph,
Yeah.
that's what they were talking about.
It's not part of the zone change.
Of the zone change, right, exactly. So,
So we're gonna move on to the public portion. Castro in the list. Remind you folks, those are coming up to speak. To reiterate the rule, not to rehash or reiterate things that were discussed at the last meeting. Should be limited to new information or new topics that are wish to be presented to the commission. We'll start. Is there any elected officials in the audience that did not sign in? Missed someone last week. Okay. First is Cheryl McMahon.
Evening, everyone. So my name is Cheryl McMahon. I'm here to really support the zone change for the preservation of the Beardsley family homestead. I'm sorry, can you not hear me? Okay. Not close enough to the mic? Better? Better?
yeah.
Okay, sorry. So I think this measure is crucial to enabling Dan to retain the homestead within his family and to integrate it with the existing estate. Since the land has already been sold, I believe the opportunity to have the town really take it over is not an option, correct? As far as like a historical site. So I think we're kind of at an impasse there because I know there's been a lot of chatter about that online and just kind of want to put that out in the open. But I do believe that this zone change represents a valuable compromise. And I'm sincerely appreciative that the buyer is willing to consider this as an option. Just a little family history. I am a multi-generational Shelton family person. My grandfather was John Beardsley. And, you know, there's roads in White Hills named after my family members. My grandfather was actually left school when he was in middle school to take over the farm. And, you know, we were dirt poor and we didn't understand how to preserve, you know, our history at that point. And a lot of that was lost. And I'd like whatever opportunity there is to hold on to that in our community. looking at the current situation in Shelton, I'm a little concerned with the overdevelopment that has occurred at this point without adequate assessment of safety and consideration for our community values. I'm honestly surprised after the challenges we faced during COVID that we haven't fully recognized the importance of our farms here in Shelton. When shipping and transportation logistics were disrupted, it was our local farms that ensured our families had food on the table, and supporting our remaining farms in an area strengthens our community and enhances our resilience. With that being said, I don't think it's the right spot for a multi-unit family housing. I think this zone change will give us the opportunity to really create a great compromise and keep our historical values intact. Thank you for your time and consideration regarding this matter.
Katie Sharon.
Hello, my name is Katie Sharon. I've been a resident of Shelton for 37 years, 19 by choice, and I'm here to strongly support the proposed zoning change. When I think of Shelton, I think of my childhood. I think of building tree forts in the woods, catching frogs and salamanders, swimming in the creek, playing capture the flag well into my teens. And the woods surrounded my parents' property felt like a different world, and it was my world. That magical wooden area that I'm describing now is now a condominium development on Trolley Bridge Road. Mr. Quarenta, welcome to the neighborhood. The compromise that you've reached with Mr. Beardsley is a gift, not just one family, but to this entire community. It allows for thoughtful development while preserving a piece of Shelton's character and history. We are so fortunate to have local farms in Shelton, but they can't survive without our community support. And once that land is gone, it is gone for good, along with the history that it holds. And it's up to all of us to support our farmers, just as they sustain us. May we always be able to pick apples and buy peaches at Beardsley Farm. Plan our summer dinners at East Village Farm in Laurel Glen. Eat the strawberries in the sun at Jones's Farm. Enjoy the meat selections at Stone Garden Farms, and experience the thrills and magic at Fairview Tree Farm, just to name a few. And be like my 2-year-old who says hello to the moo cows on Birdseye Road every day. How lucky are we to sit and watch that sunset? To my community, without this change, there is a real possibility this land could be developed more densely and changing the character of this area in ways that cannot be undone. This is not about stopping a process. It's about making a choice that we won't regret. And I respectfully urge the zoning committee to approve this zoning change and support a solution that preserves our history and our future. Thank you.
Robin Thompson. Good evening.
Well, I'm Robin Thompson. My maiden name is Robin Beardsley. I have come to support the change of the zoning for Dan to keep the property his grandfather and grandmother once owned. This property has been in generations and would, hate to see the landmark change from the farming. Dan put a lot of work and knowledge into working to keep it afloat. I personally knew Aunt Connie and worked for the Sunnyside School as a librarian, and Uncle Steve that brought his Jeep full of apples to our home as I was a child. Guy Beardsley also worked the property. There is no one that didn't know him around the valley. He always gave me a big hug and called me his cousin. This was once called No Man's Land. Everyone was family and like family. There was a lot of history and farm and historical. I can't see losing it further development. Thank you for your time and consideration approving the zone change.
Janice Can't read your last name, Janice.
Shiapa.
Shiapa?
Hello, I'm Janice Miller Shiapa. I'm a retired registered dietitian nutritionist. My business name has been Nutrition Just Makes Sense. I've lived in Shelton my entire life. I grew up on Maple Lane, which is off Huntington Street, and have lived on Soundview Avenue for over 50 years. I've been saddened to see the number of small farms disappear and become housing like the old dairy estate. The important issue is to allow this small economically viable farm to continue for the benefit of Shelton citizens. I participated in the classes given by Guy Beardsley, and I realized all the preparation of the land and the timing for all that is done to produce our food. Farms do best when they are clustered together. It's time to focus on saving our few remaining farms in town and on ways to get its fresh food to schools, farmers markets, and to the seniors. Thank you.
Graham Bissett.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Graham Bissett. I live at 224 Birdseye Road, so I'm probably more affected than everybody is up there. I've lived there on that corner for 53 years. I'm kind of torn. I would love to see it stay, the whole property stay farmland, but if we have to compromise, this is probably the best solution, you know. I'm torn. I'm not favoring it either way. I retired as the building official in the town of Trumbull in 2016 after 23 years in the Trumbull Building Department. I'm very well aware of Quantra Builders. They built quite a number of houses in Trumbull, and they're a reputable construction company. My only concern is when and if this development happens, where will the access be to the construction site? Will it be off of Leavenworth Road or will it be off of Pearmain? Like I said the last time I was here, Pearmain is a very, very small road. And you can't drive and turn around on that property. You know, people, they either back down or drive down, and every time they make that corner, they drive up on my lawn. You can see the corner, and the corner keeps, my property gets smaller and smaller and smaller. I finally had to put some rocks there to try and keep people from driving over the lawn, or they pull over on the sides to let people by. And for the last 2 weeks, the tree company has been there, and you can see on the side of my property where the tree people were, and people going around, it's all torn up. Is somebody going to fix that? Or I don't know. I'll probably get out there and do it. That's my only concern. I know if I talk to Gary, if they do that, I'm sure they would, you know, address my concerns. I don't know if this is the proper place to address that or not.
This is the application for a zone change.
Right,
So if this application gets to the next stage, that would be the time to come and speak about access points, or an access point.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Rebecca Wilbur. Evening.
Good evening. My name is Rebecca Wilbur, and I worked on Guy's farm on that plot of land from 2007 to 2019. Very disappointed that it's not going to all stay a farm because it was a very magical place. You know, but I do support Dan's proposal. I think that it's a good compromise. But the two things I wanted to say, one of the things, Guy enabled me, I was a teacher during the school year. And then in the summers, I worked on the farm. And he allowed me to bring students in where I could tutor them and then they would work on the farm. And because of that, they learned about where their food came from. They learned how it was produced. They took part in it. And a lot of them ended up having their going with their parents and starting their own backyard farms. This is something we have to preserve, you know, and I really hope that we can do something to protect the farmland that we have in Shelton already that isn't at risk right now. The other thing, and because I worked with Guy and we did all those farmers markets, one of the things we had put together was it's kind of healthy living through vegetables, the medicine cabinet in your garden. You know, before Big Pharma, people healed their bodies by the foods they ate. Did you know that cilantro actually can cure anxiety? That eating garlic can slow down cancer growth? There's like literally we had pages and pages of these are the vegetables that we were selling, raising on the farm and selling to the people in the community and all of the health benefits. And we need to remember where it all came from, where it started. If we feed the soil will feed us. It will take care of us. And as we give that up, we are losing a very, very important part of ourselves. So thank you very much. I appreciate you listening.
Joe Welsh.
Hey, everybody. Joe Welsh, Shelton Land Trust President. I don't have any bumper stickers. I ran out. We own over 380 acres of property throughout the city of Shelton. Some of that is ag land and some is even leased to Dan for his apple crop. We're all here to support the preservation of a farm. How that looks to each of us may be different. We all want Dan to benefit. But we, as the Land Trust Board, urge the city to figure out how to protect the farm in its entirety. The ag lands are very important. So I'll leave you with that. Couple questions. So when deciding on the potential loss of important farmland, we ask you if this is in line with the Plan of Conservation and Development goals for protecting agricultural resources. So that's a question. And then in reviewing the open space plan that's on the conservation website, the conservation status for the Beardsley property shows up as PDR, which is typically purchase of development rights. I think that's maybe an error if the property was sold and being subdivided. So I just wanted to point that out. Thanks for your time.
Get on PDR.
So if you go to the open space plan on the Conservation Commission's website and you pull down that plan, it has a list of the farms and their status on farms that have been protected, farms that aren't protected. Under 276, it says it has PDR, purchase of development rights. I believe that's the acronym, in conservation status. So if anything, maybe that should get edited. Thank you.
Good evening, Mark Connolly, 54 Trap Falls Road in Shelton. I want to apologize. I tried to submit this later than the 24-hour record, so I will read what I was going to present and then I will hand it in. Over the last month, as we all know, there's been a lot of thoughts and opinions and posts online on the topic, including what I posted. But one of the major significant changes, which I'd like to congratulate on, is the Conservation Commission supporting the change. That change supports helping a farmer, helping land that is no longer considered a farm be moved back to farming. When cessation of the farming stopped, according to state's PA 480, that is no longer farmland. He's reintroducing that land as a farm. To further bring light to this, I want to talk about the fact of the public support. There's a lot of people that couldn't be here. I'm going to present over 200 signatures who are in support of the zoning change. But I also want to talk about online posts. March 30th post, Shelton, Connecticut, that I posted, there were 357 people who liked and support the change. And a few comments that are important. Please support this. We need this. Absolutely support it. We need farmland more than ever. This morning, another post on Connecticut Residents 2. In the first hour at 8 a.m., I had 70 likes supporting it. As of just a minute ago, 202. A comment from today's post, let's get it done for Dan to purchase this land. Just another part of the process of the public support to make this zone change happen. Thank you.
Anyone else in the auditorium that would like to speak? Harbinson?
Tom Harbinson, Shelton, Connecticut. Addressing you as chairman of the Conservation Commission. Prior speaker is correct that the open space map that we have for the orchard area next to this subject property is shown as PDR, Purchase of Development Rights. That is incorrect. The property is like most any other property available for development and such. The reason for that error occurred likely prior to my service on the Conservation Commission. We attempted a purchase of development rights for the orchard property, and we had brought it to the finish line, but we unfortunately were not successful. So that's probably where that error occurred, but we are aware of it and we'll be correcting our mapping. Thank you.
Who is next? Sir, your name?
Good evening. I don't know if I need to be closer or not. I'm a farmer in local towns.
Your name, sir?
Matthew, Federico, Federico.
Go ahead.
I farm in Wallingford, North Haven, Cheshire, and Prospect. We tried to buy this property in 2022. And the biggest thing that held us back was the historic home. So the fact that we're even at this meeting and you're having to break it up for development is a joke.
Is there anyone else in the auditorium like to speak? Come on up, sir. Mr. Jones?
Yes, it's the ultimate dream that many of us had, and we still keep our fingers crossed that everything could be preserved for the reasons that Ms. Wilbur mentioned, and it's a beautiful goal, and I think it can be done. I certainly think that the plan that Dan has come up with makes wonderful sense. And his vision for the homestead, the historic homestead, is a good one. And as a farmer and the other activities around it, I think he'll make us very proud. It would be just wonderful if the back 3 acres could be protected as well. So I hope between land trust or purchase of development rights or whatever, but I clearly recognize that the purchaser, I mean, he does own it, so we have to do it in a legal and respective way. Thank you.
Sir? Your name, sir?
Joe Palmucci, Shelton. I had something a little bit longer to read, but I'm cutting it down quite a bit. You know, people do what's in their best interest, okay? They're opportunistic. Farmers farm for a living, but that land was once forest and before it was purchased by the farmer, and a builder builds for a living. So usually on land that was previously undeveloped, of course. So all of us need a place to eat, a place to live and need to eat. So, you know, there's been a lot of criticism online of your board, which I think is unfounded, and of the city for not doing, they can't go buying every piece of open space for the city. So, and I really want to thank Gary for willing to compromise with Dan. I think what they have proposed here is very workable. The 3 acres in question were never really farmed to begin with. So if it can be used in a different manner, you're really not losing farm. Like as Mark had said, you're really gaining farm back. So I think everyone should think of it that way. And that's really all I have to say.
Pastor, is there anyone online who would like to address the commission?
If there's anyone online that would like to speak, please use raise your hand feature. No.
There's no more folks wishing to speak. Would the applicant like to address any of the public comments?
I would like to just thank everybody for the comments, whether they were good for me or against me. Just know I did look into, in the beginning, keeping it as is. I looked into put horses there. It's very hard to make it sustainable, that little piece of land to be sustainable, just to pay the bills for the property. As I said, this is the best deal, helping Dan out, helping me out. There's no room for hate. And that's all I have.
Does the commission have any questions for the applicant? Okay, I'll set it. Commission have any questions? Any other questions? Any other comments? How does the commission wish to proceed regarding keeping the public hearing open or closed?
I think we can close the public hearing.
Close it.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to close public hearing.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor of close the public hearing for application 26-09, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. We will we're in support of are we in support, assuming based on the comments, we're in support of a favorable resolution?
Yes.
Okay, we'll request staff to prepare a favorable resolution for our upcoming meeting. Okay. We will look for the next meeting. It will likely be on May 13th. I want to confirm that right tonight, but it'll likely be on the 15th. 13th, May 13th. Thank you. Okay, the next public hearing is for application. What? Oh. Let's take a 5-minute recess at 7:19.
That's.
Did you see that commercial on TV
What one?
where the girl goes into the bus
Yeah, I'm in late. I have an iPhone.
and she's eating the top part?
Oh, thank you. Oh, I got that. I haven't-
Part. The bus driver is one, and all the people on the vehicles are. The people. And she looks at him, and she goes.
We're back. Good evening, everyone. Back from break at 7:23. The next public hearing is for application 2611. Commission action for a text amendment to section 5.14 of the Shelton Planning and Zoning Regulation. The proposed amendment would remove the words full service from the definition of fitness center. Commissioner Amato, would you please read the legal notice for the application into the record?
Commission action to amend the definition of fitness center found in 5-14. 514 fitness center, a fitness center serving the general public, whether on a daily basis or by membership, and providing a range of services for physical fitness and sports training, including bodybuilding and aerobic activities, classes for yoga, Pilates, and martial arts. Such facilities may also include an accessory to the fitness and training purposes: tanning booths, sauna rooms, steam booths, non-alcoholic health drinks and related health foods, retail sale of nutritional supplements, gym clothing, and various gym gear and childcare services. A massage establishment, as defined in the Shelton City Ordinance, shall not be considered a fitness center as herein described. Any massage services, if included, must be clearly accessory to and an insignificant component of a fitness and training center.
Thank you. To recap the history of this amendment, in a previous text amendment application, the commission noted the term full service should be removed from the definition of fitness center, and there was no definition for limited service. As such, staff has prepared the change per the commission's request. Ms. Castro, would you please read aloud the exhibits in the file and advise the commission whether any additional materials were submitted for the record within the 24-hour time period?
There is one single exhibit within the file. It is the definition with the strikeout, and we received no public comment.
Okay. Did any commissioner have any questions regarding the proposal? Or
So this came about just based on the commission requesting that the be changed.
correct,
Mhm.
from last meeting, last fall meeting, regular meeting.
Yeah, definition of.
Okay. I'll open this up to the public. Is there anyone who signed up? I don't see anybody in the sign-in sheet. Ms. Castro, is anyone online? No. Okay, seeing there's no one wishes to comment, how would the commission like to proceed? Would you like to close the public hearing or keep it open?
Make a motion to close public hearing.
Yeah, second that.
All in favor to close public hearing on application 2611, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 6-0. So how, let's see.
Mr.
So
Chairman,
we're
can we make a motion to adopt the change as
Yes.
presented?
Yes, for 2611.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Commissioner Up. Okay, the final public hearing for this evening is application 2612. Also a commission action for comprehensive text amendments to section 44 of the zoning regulations which governs signs. The proposed amendments address a broad range of topics, including sign definitions, application and review procedures, enforcement authority, illumination and brightness standards, prohibited sign types, temporary and portable signs, window signage, and multi-tenant building signs. Commissioner Amato, would you please read the legal notice for this application into the record?
Initiation of commission action for comprehensive text amendments to section 44 signs. including but not limited to provisions addressing sign definitions, application and review procedures, enforcement authority, illumination and brightness standards, prohibited sign types, temporary and portable signs, window signage, and multi-tenant building signs.
Thank you. Today, we're here to take a fresh look at our sign regulations, which haven't been meaningfully updated in quite some time. There are three major things driving this. Supreme Court decision from 2015 that limits how signs can regulate what signs can say, meaning we need to make sure our rules hold up legally. Some real gaps in the current regulations around things like feather signs and digital signs that leave staff without a clear basis to act when issues come up, and a need for a cleaner, documented enforcement process so staff isn't put in a difficult position in the field or when reviewing application submissions. The goal is straightforward. Give the city modern, enforceable rules that actually reflect what we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Sign subcommittee staff and attorney have worked diligently to prepare and review and amend this section and are recommending for full commission approval. Commissioners are provided the proposed amendments in advance of this meeting. Does any commissioner have any questions, comments on the proposed amendments?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
On the letter from Attorney McCoy, on the top of page 2, he talks about what his recommendation is for the final wording that's of the purpose. And I just want to make sure, in the past, we've always told applicants they cannot have such things as phone numbers and website addresses and such on phones. And I just want to make sure that that will continue. Is there
No.
anything
That,
that holds that back?
I think
yes,
it's in
that
the
is not,
regulation.
that's not the case anymore. We cannot, Attorney McCoy can correct me based on the understanding, we cannot restrict
Content.
the freedom of speech content. Is that correct, Attorney McCoy?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up because that the whole point of prior commissions having an opinion on that as not being appropriate was to have signs that were appropriate and clean and not cluttered. And it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to work out. Sometimes, you give somebody an inch and they take a mile, and then we're stuck.
No, I
We did
agree.
discuss that at length in our subcommittee over several meetings.
Mhm.
But we did kind of end up where we are in terms of, we've said a lot of things over the years that we had no anything in the regs or, you know what I'm saying? So, and it left the staff in a very bad position because we were all assuming we knew what we were talking about. That was one of those things we had always done, but no way to back that up.
Yeah, no, I understand where the commission's coming from.
If I can, there was a recommendation after some discussion today with council, and it was specifically to 44.3.4B. I have taken the liberty of adding it in
3.4.
Give me that number again.
Page
44.3.4B.
Is this on the red line?
This is on page 4. It starts on page 4. And goes, what we got the other one? That one's not on page numbers. That one.
Okay.
That one's on page 4. Down at the bottom of the page. So we would be removing the bolded text in green and replacing with the text on the screen, which reads, if a permit application is filed after a sign has been installed without prior approval, The application shall be subject to standard sign application fee plus a 25% additional administrative processing fee upon the sign application fee schedule listed in the Shelton Planning and Zoning Fee Schedule duly adopted by the City of Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission. Said additional fee is intended to recover the reasonable and added administrative costs of review, inspection, and enforcement associated with the after-the-fact application.
So we don't have that on here.
No.
That clarifies that whole discussion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good face, right?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Related to that same section, it says above it that section 8-1 of the Connecticut General Statutes is the city's duly adopted fee schedule. Do we have that? Are you aware a fee schedule that has been adopted as an ordinance by the Shelton Board of Aldermen?
So this is the text that would be scratched out, the one you're referencing. And then I can call on Attorney McCoy to answer your question.
So all of B is being scratched out and will be replaced with.
What's
up there? That's
right.
Right, but what we're replacing refers to a fee schedule. And the only fee schedule that I was able to find is an 8-1 of the Connecticut General Statutes, which says that the city's Board of Aldermen, in our case, must adopt an ordinance that sets the fee schedule. So my question is, do we have one?
I can refer to Attorney McCoy.
Okay, so certain things your the fee schedule is based upon 8-26. Now the question you have relates to in just so you know, Attorney Teodosio and I had discussed this because I was looking for the fee schedule as well, or the approval by ordinance. So a lot of this stuff the statutory section referred to dealt with the situation where planning and zoning commissions operated, under ordinance, and all those regulations really are ordinances under ordinance, and operated as part of the either the Board of Aldermen or the city town councils or whatever they had in place in the different towns. So anyhow, and it goes back to the 70s. So when we're going through this, and I cited the statute, there's kind of a conflict out there, but what we did was we looked at Fuller, who on land use, and this has really never been challenged on that topic. Your commission has adopted by essentially in just after in your regulations after section 55 your fee schedules. So and really that's what Fuller says. There is it's kind of a void on that topic. It's never been challenged. Most commissions adopt fee schedules, and there may not be an ordinance on that topic. So what I did here was not to even bring that in by writing it this way. You already have an adopted fee schedule. You can, if you really want to, you can send that back over to the Board of Aldermen and have them adopt your fee schedule that you have attached to your regulations. So what I did here is I redrafted it. I wrote it this way, so it goes to your fee schedule, which is on let's see, it is in your new rule.
I think it was 55.
Yeah, it's it's after V6, which is page 163 on the your new regulations that were on the website. Okay, so that's why I wrote that way, so that issue that you're talking about doesn't even come up. I would prefer that there wasn't we said we referred to the fee schedule, but this also probably saves you some work because it basically bases the administrative processing fee to 25% on top of the fee. So the, the attachment, which when I initially looked, I looked at the adopted 2013, and then the revised once, and there was a 2015 fee schedule. It was drafted slightly different than the one that you presently have. If you want, I could show it to you, but it's that's why I revised that to take into account that comment and the adoption of the fee schedule based on the state statute. Now, I familiar with one other, a few other terms, but sometimes they just say the fee schedule. They basically delegate that to the commission. They could also do that by ordinance. That would probably deal with it. But this really doesn't bring into place that statutory section that we had in there that I was citing before. I try to basically come up with wording that would incorporate whatever fees are in place now and add an administrative fee on top of it for the failure to make the application prior to putting up the sign.
But it may be in our long-term best interest as a commission to either get the Board of Aldermen to designate by ordinance this commission to set a fee schedule, or in turn, let the aldermen set a fee schedule so that we're in line with 8-1.
And I think you recently, didn't you, it's similar to what you did with the ZEO, right? They had to, I think the set the procedures in place by ordinance, and then you adopted certain things under the ZEO enforcement mechanisms.
Yeah, so at some point, I think Mr. Chairman, I think it would be wise that we ask the aldermen to either designate us as the fee schedule authority for planning and zoning actions, or we ask them to adopt the fee schedule.
Is it, what regulation is that under? What section?
Our
Is the fee schedule?
It's an addendum to our regulations. It's within our regulations. It has been since the inception of our regulations. They date back. Our most recent change was in 2020.
So I think then the process would be, as we continue to update sections of the regulations, which is my intention, when we get to that section, we will confer with Corporation Counsel as we have every section, and it'll be addressed at that point. And if the recommendation is to present it to the Board of Aldermen, then we will do so.
Makes sense to me, what you're saying. I don't think settling that has any bearing on adopting these
Correct.
regulations.
You're right. Absolutely.
That's why I changed it, like rewrote it this way, because that issue was brought up. So
That makes sense.
whatever
Right.
place,
Percent is what
just,
we already have.
but
So,
And if there isn't a change, then we would come back and change this one paragraph. If we get to that point. If we adopt a fee schedule down the road, we can come back and change this one paragraph.
It's percentage.
it's the percentage of
So-
whatever
See,
the
if
fee
What's
schedule
written
is.
covers where we would not have to adjust this.
Right.
This
Either
would-
way. Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, on Attorney McCoy's letter. There was reference to private property police call. Have there been cases where that has come up?
Several.
Where there are signs posted as to,
Commercial would still be the private and residential where we removed within the right of way. Police department asked us to point out where in our regulations we have that authorization, and it's not there, so this actually breaks down all the steps required.
so there are persons that put what, do not trust, no trespassing, private property, is that the kind of sign or?
A business sign, advertising,
Oh, okay,
it was
some kind of signage that was not on.
that the commission did not review, approve.
Mhm.
We found several of them,
Okay.
not as many instances that way that police were called, but they were.
Mhm.
Lots of visits to our office. also the threats that our zoning enforcement officer gets on his personal time for contractor signage.
Are these, like on the city's right away, the state right away?
Yes,
Okay, all right, so we were doing that without authority, but now
this is what clarifies.
clarify that. Okay, number 5, the bottom of that same page, what's EMC? EMC stand for? EMC operational restrictions, digital signs.
I don't have that up here. That was for you guys. I only have, so that was the electronic messaging.
Electronic message something. Yeah.
Electronic messaging centers.
Okay,
It's defined in 445.15.
Right, right.
okay, thank you. And then I thought,
I got it on my phone.
oh, I got it. At the bottom of, the next page, which is B, remaining content based with no distinctions.
Yes.
That last paragraph, the draft should also be reviewed. The third type line down starts with the word, in quotes, advertising or decorative content. The next sentence, provision requires the city to read the display to determine whether the rule applies. What are you referring to as to read the display? What does that mean?
Where are you?
Basically, you shouldn't be reviewing the display, because then you're making a decision on like what it says, how it says it, you know, if the grammar is correct. I don't know. Any of that stuff, you really shouldn't be doing it. You have to really limit it to coverage, size, placement, illumination, without regard to the message, because you don't want the government telling people, you know, really what they can say. I mean, there are some limitations in commercial advertising, but really, you don't want to get sued for that.
So basically, you're saying if a provision, in other words, if a provision requires the city to review the display, any kind of review of it, yeah, is not really permitted.
Can't touch the message, you can only touch the sign.
Right.
Right, exactly. But looking at what is printed on the sign is what would throw us in jeopardy.
Correct.
Okay. I think that's it for me.
Okay. Did anyone else have any questions? Okay. I will now open this up to the public. No one signed up on the sign-in sheet. Ms. Castro, is anyone online? One online. How does the commission wish to proceed with the public hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second that.
Second. Motion to close the public hearing made by Commissioner Wynn. Close the public hearing on application 2612, second by Commissioner Kelly. All in favor to close application 2612 by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This is 6-0. See, we closed. How would the commission like to proceed?
I think we should adopt the changes as
Well,
revised, and all the revisions
With the
and
revision.
discussions that we've had. Shape, I commend staff for the work they've done on this. It's been quite a project, well done.
I commend the committee also. You guys read a lot. There's a lot of changes back and forth. So
Yeah.
your time, those time subcommittee meetings took a lot longer than usual. So
That is
I agree. Thank you to everyone involved. And Attorney McCoy, my intention is to whittle away at all our regulations over the next period of time. I want to put a timestamp on it.
Come on.
The next century.
Well, we're gonna get to all our regulations by section, right? My hope is if we do it by section, it'll be more achievable.
So did Commissioner Armato make a motion to adopt?
Yeah.
I
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
I'll second that.
Second, so a motion was made by Commissioner Armato, to approve, application 2612 for comprehensive text amendments to section 44 signs, second by Commissioner Kelly. Ms. Castro, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Chairman, just a
Yep.
point of order. I think the motion has to be approved as amended.
Correct.
Because we added
Approve
the
as
section that
amended.
was brought in.
Correct.
Chairman Cristiano,
Aye.
Vice Chair Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Hodger,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Apple.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0. Moving on to our next section, which is the minutes for approval. First is March 11th, regular meeting minutes. Does any commissioner have any comments or corrections on the March 11th, 2026 regular meeting minutes?
Good to me.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
I'll make that motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
And I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm abstaining. No, look on.
Okay, motion passes 5-0-1. Next is minutes for March 25th, special meeting minutes. Does any commissioner have any corrections on the March 25th, 2026 meeting minutes?
The motion that way it's approved.
Any second?
Second.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Kelly, second by Commissioner Mono. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I will abstain. Thank you.
Okay, motion passes 5-0-1. No additional comments from the chair. Ms. Castro, any comments?
No comments.
Mr. Ganji, no comments? Seeing no other items on the agenda, the chair declares this evening meeting adjourned at 7:49 PM.
Oh,
Very good.